I watched 2 games back. It's 2 games that I rewatched. What could you guess that is? Now, before you answer that question, the 2 games that I watched back, I know you're going to think they're obvious. I know you're going to think that I watched the game that ain't got nothing to do with what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's wrong. We off of that right now. Let me tell you something. Week 1 happened. We caught a body. It may not be in the fashion that we wanted to catch the body, but it was some things I watched, and it was some things I learned from watching that game again. A lot of people like to say the secondary was exposed. Well, the 2 plays, the one where Case Keenum overthrew was it McClure, that guy, the speedster for the Washington Redskins. The other play where the speedster actually caught the ball were on 2 plays that we asked for as fans. We asked for those plays. We asked for Schwartz to blitz. We asked for the pressure to be brought. And that's the downside of bringing pressure, which Jim Schwartz don't like to do all the time. You get burnt. You look like that sometimes when you bring pressure and you don't get there. You see what I'm saying? We're so used to bringing pressure with 4 that maybe bringing that extra pressure that we always keep begging for, maybe it came to bite us in the ass on 2 plays. It definitely did, and it showed. Nobody else for the rest of the season is getting spotted. Hold on, Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. And this is the keys to victory, to beating the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Nobody else is getting spotted 17 points, period. Nobody else is getting spotted 17 points. Now, we went over what happened last week, blase. We went over all those things. We're not going to have Malik Jackson. I wish Malik Jackson a speedy recovery. He's out for the rest of the season. He has a foot injury. He has to get foot surgery. A lot of people are saying now, the media and all these guys on Twitter are saying, oh, the Philadelphia Eagles' big offseason acquisition. The big offseason acquisition, in my opinion, scored 2 50-yard touchdowns. We acting like Malik Jackson had 3 sacks on Sunday. We ain't missing nothing, technically, that we didn't already have. Yet and still, we wish him a speedy recovery. Next man up. Tim Jernigan gonna get the job done. Hassan Ridgeway gonna be able to get some playing time out of this. And you know Jim Schwartz is a defensive coordinator who likes to bring outside guys inside to help out with the workload. And Vinny Curry is one of those guys that can play outside and inside. But one thing that nobody's talking about is similar situation happened to, the right guard of the Atlanta Falcons. They won't have that guy. He was also seen in a boot after the game, after their loss to the Minnesota Vikings. So they're going to be a little thin at a starting position on the right side. And we're going to be a little thin at defensive tackle. But if there's one spot that I'm not worrying about, that's defensive tackle, as long as Fletcher Cox is there. Now, Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson looked really well together. Tim Jernigan got a nice sack during that game. I mean, the defensive tackles came to play. So, listen, Tim Jernigan going to step up. Hassan Ridgeway going to step up. And I'm very anxious to see who they're going to pick up to fill a void for the rest of the season while they put our boy on injured reserve. Now, I'm pretty sure we already know what's the second game that I watched. It was the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Atlanta is nobody scary to me. I'm sorry. You just got to call a spade a spade. If you're counting on somebody blowing the lead, I don't even think Atlanta's going to have a substantial lead like the Washington Redskins had in this game. Atlanta looks completely out of sync. Atlanta didn't score until the 4th quarter last week. Atlanta offensive line looks like it's in shambles. I think Matt Ryan was sacked somewhere around 4 times. The offensive line was even bad on a special teams play where they had a punt block. I think that our defensive line should be able to exploit these guys. Matt Ryan actually had 2 rushing. Matt Ryan rushed the ball. Their run was non-existent. Matt Ryan led them in yards per carry. I mean, that's not hard to do for a quarterback sometimes because they only run the ball 1 time to get out of trouble. But Matt Ryan ran the ball twice for like 12 yards a carry, something like that. We're going to make these dudes one-dimensional. But what we can't do, and this will bring me to the first key, what we can't do is we cannot try so hard to make these guys one-dimensional to the fact that we're bringing unnecessary pressure and leaving the middle of the field open. We must not, under no circumstances, with this wide receiver group of the Atlanta Falcons, leave the middle of the field open. Case Keenum missed that dude for a home run. Matt Ryan ain't going to miss Calvin Ridley or Julio Jones for a home run. You see where I'm going with this? We got to be able to make sure that our ducks is in a row and there's safety help over the top at all times. You know what I'm saying? Because we underestimated if they was going to try as deep. It's not hard to see when the pressure coming. When dudes have no option but to run the ball, well, no option but to pass the ball and you shutting down the run, that's when play action comes. The second key will be maintaining discipline on play action. Maintaining eye discipline. Play action killed us last week. It could have caused us the game. It very well could have caused us the game. So the first key is, I'll bring it back. The first key is we want to shut down the middle of the field. We want to force them to throw the balls to the outsides. What does the outside do? The outside provides an extra man, which is out of bounds. You see what I'm saying? Which is out of bounds. If they're throwing to the outside to Calvin Ridley, if he has to jump for the ball, tight roping on the outside, we can force him out of bounds and complete. You see where I'm going with this? We're going to use the field to our advantage. We're not going to allow them to beat us deep up the middle of the field. We're not going to allow it. We're going to shut down the run and the middle of the field. And it should be a fairly easy game for our defense. Fairly easy game for our defense. I'm trying to tell you, this is a trap game already. This is a trap game already. We cannot allow the Atlanta Falcons to abuse us with the pass the way Case Keenum did. We cannot, that's unacceptable. 380 passing yards for Case Keenum is unacceptable. Period. Now, we came out sluggish. That was our dress rehearsal in the first half, but we look like a completely different team in the second half of the game. Now, this third key is the biggest key. Control the clock with the run. Use your run game. I got some notes, man, on just how effective the run was for them last week with one running back, Dalvin Cook. We're using a three-headed monster. Yeah, we got a bunch of attempts with three running backs. Two of them had over 40 yards. We got some attempts. You know what I'm saying? But Dalvin Cook had 21 carries for 111 yards on the ground. This dude just getting healthy and did that to him. 5.32 yards a carry. They threw the ball 10 times on Atlanta and still won. That type of stuff don't happen. Kirk Cousins was 80%. 8 for 10. A touchdown. Kirk Cousins even sneaked a touchdown win. Listen, but listen, Atlanta is very good at spreading the ball. They had 5 different receivers with over 5 targets. With 5 or more targets, they had 5 different receivers. Matt Ryan was throwing the ball to everybody. Eye discipline for the secondary is key. You know what I mean? The Falcons' right guard is out. We got to get the pressure, and we got to shut these guys down. We're going to do it. We're going to be 2-0 at the end of this. It all depends on how stressful we make it on ourselves. They just came from a hostile environment. We're going into a hostile environment. The Atlanta Falcons are bona fide choke artists. They're bona fide choke artists. The NFC South is one field goal, a missed field goal away from the entire division not winning in week 1. The Atlanta Falcons' spirit has been broken since they blew that lead in the Super Bowl. We will not give the Atlanta Falcons the spirit that they're dying to get back. They're done. And we're going to finish their season in week 2. We're going to finish their season in week 2. We're going to put up another 30 points. That's a bold prediction right there. We're going to put up another 30 points. They're going to Deshaun must run a fly route 70% of the time this game. The NFL is terrified by what they've seen. That was a defense, a secondary that had Landon Collins and Josh Norman. Quentin Dunbar. That secondary ain't sweet. And people are going to be surprised by the Washington Redskins. They want to say we barely beat some bottom feeders. No, we made it look easy in the second half. They came out and they jumped on us like they were supposed to jump on us. They came out and did what they were supposed to do. We got caught sleepwalking. They did what they were supposed to do. But in the end, we pulled it out. Now we follow those keys. Shut down the middle of the field. Establish the run. If you establish the run and control time of possession, we keep Matt Ryan and Julio Jones off the field. Not saying we scared of them, but why keep them on the field? Do you know how we got back in the game? Against the Washington Redskins? We controlled time of possession. We came out running the ball in the second half. We did what we should have started the game with, a run play. But instead, we start the game with a 5-wide set, one of the 5 wide receivers being a running back. We got to come out these games smart. We got to come out smart. We avoided that. We avoided disaster last week, and I don't think that disaster will be nearly as close on us this week. You know what I'm saying? Shut down the middle of the field, establish the run, and be smart with your eye discipline. You know what I mean? It's so many keys to winning this game. But establishing a run would have to be the major key. Control time of possession, keep them boys off the field. You can't, listen. We asked for, we say Jim Schwartz never blitz. On 2 blitzing plays, they get us out of our element. We let the Washington Redskins take the top off. 1 was overthrown. Do we want to keep blitzing? Are we going to ignore the fact that we criticize Jim for not blitzing, but then he blitz, and then we almost get fried for it? We don't got to blitz to beat the Atlanta Falcons. We've been beating the Atlanta Falcons. And in fact, we actually own the Atlanta Falcons. Let me know what you think in the comments.